Was it a hard foul or something personal? This cheap shot from Caitlin Clark's opponent has America talking tonight, some suggesting that the league should be nicer to its golden child, and others chalking it up to tough basketball. Now, that incident has now sparked an even bigger conversation about Clark's meteoric rise in the WNBA and whether race and privilege are playing any part of it. Now, according to Pat McAfee, it doesn't. Watch.
I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar.
The ESPN host did apologize after that, and he said he directly sent an apology to Clark. Joining me now is CNN contributors Cari Champion and Bob Costas. Cari.
Yes.
Now, would anyone else have been able to get away with Pat McAfee?
Absolutely not.
That's his brand.
Absolutely not. And
right.
Not,
so
Bob,
ESPN, in a way, is.
I understand
this is what
that,
they're buying.
but brand or not, there's no world that I'm familiar with where a woman is okay with another man calling her the B word in any capacity. I think maybe it's okay with girlfriends and we kiki. That's a fair and honest statement. But I'm not so much mad. I'm really not angry with Pat McAfee. What I'm angry with is are the new viewers and followers and analysts who are trying to describe this women's game. Welcome to the WNBA. We're happy you've arrived, but do me a favor, do your research. That's where the arguments are happening and where people are angry.
Let me play. This is Stephen A. talking about this on the show.
There are girls, young ladies in the WNBA who are jealous of Caitlin Clark. She is a white girl that has come into the league. She has bursted onto the scene. She hasn't proven herself yet. It's not even about them thinking they're better than her because they probably know it at this particular juncture because they've been playing on a level she just arrived to.
Now, Monica there on the screen, we didn't have time to play it, but she made the point that Cari's making, which is welcome to the WNBA. A lot of new fans, but a lot of people have critiques about women playing sports.
Well, yeah, but I think it's fair to say, because it's complicated, like many things, there is an element of jealousy because of all the attention that Caitlin Clark has received. And some people will attribute some of that attention to the fact that in addition to being a very exciting and record-setting player, she is white in a league that is not as disproportionate, that's the wrong word, not as, what's the word I'm looking for?
Predominantly black, the
right,
NBA.
But not as much as the NBA, but I think it's closer to 50-50 from my observation. But it's still, there's a large African-American presence, and there may be some resentment from some people. But that doesn't mean that that's the entire story here. A lot of this stuff, to the point you're getting at, a lot of this stuff is what happens in sports. A highly touted rookie, white, black, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, they're going to be tested by the veterans. And sometimes that will cross a line. What Chennedy Carter did was a dirty play.
It was a dirty play.
Flagrant foul.
And it was a flagrant foul, and no one disagrees. But this is where I take issue. With your large platform, Stephen A. Smith, do you really have to promote the jealousy? There's an element of that, sure, but there's also an element of people saying, welcome to the league, Rook. You get the same treatment I get. I don't care who you are. America has a hard time looking at a black woman go aggressively towards a white woman. They better get used to it because this is how these women play the game.
Why is it? I mean, this is the thing. Look, I'm going to be transparent. I am not a huge WNBA. I'm not a big sports fan. Fine. But I look at this and I'm like, why are they treating Caitlin Clark like a child? She's a player. She's
she's a star. Okay, so here's the thing.
But what I'm saying is, like, why is it that she has to suddenly be protected? She is an athlete like everybody else.
Well, they created rules for stars, like a Michael Jordan, if you will, and they create rules for stars because they do need to be protected. The reason why they are protecting her at all costs is because she is the reason why people are watching
Wayne
the
Gretzky
WNBA.
was protected.
Wayne Gretzky was protected. We can go. It happens in all leagues, and I'm not saying she should not be protected. I don't think they should coddle her her. In fact, I don't think they're coddling her. I think she wants to get out there and ball and play, and she doesn't understand the elements from college to pro.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking at right now, I believe, in real time, is people, and this is it's yes and, Bob. It's yes, we should protect our cash cow, but people are paying money to watch her, therefore
she's
we
brought
all
a lot
win.
of attention to the league, as she did to
she's
college basketball, and everybody benefits from it.
Yeah, everybody benefits, but the resentment that I think most people are feeling, Bob, and if I could speak for some of the WNBA players, it's not so much they're mad at Caitlin Clark. They're mad at how the WNBA has now decided to pay attention to the league and give them more attention at this moment. And so some of that might be residual, Caitlin, but it really is about, I've been here. Abby, you've been working all your life.
Well, look,
you've been here.
Can I play one more thing for you, Bob,
Sure.
for you to respond to? This is Angel Reese weighing in. She is the other big star right now in WNBA. Listen.
People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role. The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Well, she's talking about the championship game
Right,
a
that
year
they were
ago,
both a part of.
LSU
Yeah.
versus Iowa, and LSU prevailed. But to your earlier point, there was an incident recently. Alyssa Thomas, who happens to be African-American, grabbed Angel Reese by the throat and threw her to the floor. Flagrant 2, ejected from the game. The reason why that doesn't spark as much conversation isn't just that Caitlin Clark is a bigger star than Alyssa Thomas. It's because it's a black-on-black incident,
Wow.
and you don't have that dynamic that people can comment on, yes, but also exaggerate and make the entire story sometimes.
And also, no
that
one
is really
cares.
that is between
no
the
one
lines.
cared
What's going
about
on
the
here.
WNBA when women of a certain color were beating up and bruising each other, because it's been happening since the league's inception. We have this star, this person that people love. They want to protect her. So now the new fans and the new analysts and the new people have so much to say. Bob, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that, because you're a legend in this sport. And you are also gracious enough to say, look, I'm not an expert in the WNBA, but what I do know from the history and what I do know, this is why she is being treated this way, and why no one cares about
I've seen
injuries.
it in every sport.
I mean,
a newcomer is tested and to some extent resented.
I mean, what's wrong with players being aggressive to a certain degree,
But not the way
competitive?
not the way Chennedy Carter was. That was a flagrant foul.
There's a process for that, and the game handles that
Yes.
by penalizing the player.
Sure.
Why does it have to be jealousy?
That's what I have asked this question. I'm sorry, I'm livid. My blood is boiling. I've been so angry about this topic all day because it's so simple to make women versus women a conversation, but it's just so simple. There should be more layers to this sport. If you're really going to welcome yourself to the WNBA and cover it and talk about it, can we be more than just jealous? Can there be some real true competition? Can they just be athletes?
I know you're
who want to
speaking
get after
generally
it?
because I didn't where
Yeah,
I'm coming
that's
from.
not where you're coming from at all. He and I have had this conversation, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Why
I do.
I don't know. Why is it so simple?
I think it'd be foolish to say that resentment and jealousy are not part of the mix because those are human emotions.
Sure.
But to elevate that above everything else and discard everything else in a complicated dynamic, that's the wrong way to go.
Correct.
Wow. Well, Bob Costas, Cari champion.
Bob, are we still best friends?
There's no reason not to be. And by the way, I'll slip this in quickly. I was telling Cari earlier, I first saw women's college basketball like 40 years ago when I was doing men's games, University of Missouri, and they played the college game, the women's game beforehand in front of like 150, 200 people. And the level of play in that few decades has improved so dramatically. The level of play now is really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is good for the sport.
It's
I
great.
Love,
it's
I
all,
love
by
to
the way,
see
it's
it.
all great for the sport. Thanks for having us
Thank you
on.
both very much. Great to have you here.